All right, we're back in the building, bro. Back in the building.
We are back, dude. Second podcast.
All right.
This one ain't messing up this time though.
The last one was practice. That's how I looked at it. Just being able to frame stuff. I was like, all right, it was a good practice to start doing this on a regular basis. But we had a meeting with Jocelyn and Jocelyn Gia.
Yeah, Jocelyn, Joe. She just goes kind of by Joe, usually by short.
Joe and Gia.
Joe and Gia. Yeah.
Okay. So we had a meeting with Joe and Gia. I think that's gonna be a great place to start. So we were in the early stages of talking with them. So I would love to get your insight on it. So you've been working with them for what, for 4 years?
Yeah, dude. I'm super excited for this one because yeah, it's been 4 years. They were the first ones that got me into the fashion industry and kind of got me into that whole thing.
Yep.
So it's kind of like it just feels like one of those just full circle moments, like
Mhm.
they kind of got me my start. They got me my first like video, like they paid me for my first modeling video.
Yeah.
And now basically we're here to help them with scaling their business because we kind of talked about a little bit of the stuff they were struggling with and like things that like are just heavy on their shoulders right now.
Yeah.
So just the fact that I'm at a point now where I can help them and like really kind of know the people too, just like yourself that can help me with elevating them.
Yep.
Like I'm excited, bro. Like this is just it feels cool to work with somebody that got me into the industry and now I'm like helping them.
No, 100%. It was great meeting them, and then it was a great opportunity to meet. They just seemed super genuine,
Yeah.
so that was great. And then they built something. You basically put them on the road of building something that was, they are the sought after people that people go to learn how to model. Like you said, you said 80 people that follow them.
Lot. And that's probably just the people that I follow.
Yeah,
That's not even the rest of the people that I probably know that know them,
yeah,
you know? So, no, but it's cool because like, I filmed their very first year of modeling school, and, like, a lot of those models have now done some pretty big stuff, so, just also knowing, like, the credibility and the amount of like, lives they've changed,
yeah,
like, that's huge. They've really done a lot for the industry, so,
yeah.
yeah, they're definitely one of the best.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to really hammer on because again, it's April 1st. It's there's no April Fools here. It's all seriousness here, but it's a serious thing. I would attest to. I would love to get your insight. Just we've come a long way of the type of people that we work with, and it really has made it clear of who we want to be in business with, as
Mhm.
opposed to trying to find our way. Or like now, it's like okay, it has to be a fit client wise, and it's not just us trying to find our way. We want to make sure it's a mutual fit so we can actually perform. And I
Yeah.
think Joe and G are like perfect examples, and even like Anthony, perfect examples of people that are ideal clients that will let you flourish and trust you in being creative and most importantly delivering the results. But I think that's something to specify on for people that are looking for an advertising agency or somebody to do some type of production, like
Mhm.
you just did the Ostrich Fest for the second time?
Yeah, second year at the Ostrich Festival
So
just ended last weekend.
so how was that? How was that compared to the first time?
I mean, way, way better. Like this time, like I've worked with SLE now a couple of times. Like
Mhm.
there's probably 7 shoots that I've done with them. So now the people that work there, like I know them like as friends now. Whenever I see them, like I actually talk to them like regular. They're not like strangers that we just started working together anymore. So
Yeah.
we have a good connection now. So the second year just felt just better. Like I
Yep.
wasn't like, I wasn't nervous about what shots I needed to get, like, I knew exactly when to get, like, crowd shots and
Yep.
stuff, or I knew when to get certain shots because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, this is when this is the best moment for this moment," and, like, I wouldn't have known that if I didn't do that first year.
Mhm.
So, no, yeah, it was really good, like, I had a lot of fun. Those festivals are always one of the better, like, fun ones to do because I
Mhm.
just can be super creative
Mhm.
on my editing.
Mhm.
So, like, the daily, like, just regular client work is very structured.
Yeah.
So with those ones, like the amount of reels that we do and podcast clips that we do, like everything again is like very structured and like there's not I wouldn't say there's not a lot of creativity, but it's not as much as these festivals. Like
Yep.
you're just super creative with your shots to the editing,
Mhm.
everything. So it's super fun. Those are always
How many
great.
people typically go to Ostrich Fest?
Dude,
Ostrich Festival?
you know what was crazy actually?
What?
Like they had one of the things on the screen where like they had all the sponsors and they had basically the amount that Ostrich Festival brings to Chandler.
Mhm.
and on the screen, it said 9.8 million in 2023.
Mm.
And
Crazy.
I was like, 9.8 like, that's how much this festival's bringing in? That's wild. And then, like, that was from 2 years ago, so if they put 2024 and, like, I made all those videos, I'm like, "Dude."
That's pretty sick.
I told one of the girls that was there, I was just messing around with her, and I was like, "Yo, I made the videos for that. Can I put that in my portfolio? Like, come on, like, I bring in." I was just joking around with her, but, like, no, like, that's a big number to bring
It's
in.
probably over that number, so, like, that's a all data number, 'cause it asked for 23 and we're not it didn't have numbers for 24.
Yeah, so they're probably still putting together all the numbers for 24, but, no, like, it's always a good time, like, I try to help them out too with, like, content-wise, because they also, like, they don't know too much about the YouTube part of it,
Yeah.
so, like, I was telling them because they don't post their stuff on YouTube, like, their recaps and everything and their reels. I just realized because before I start editing recaps, I like to watch recap videos to kinda see how people do it,
Let's
and it
go.
puts me in the train of thought of, like, editing something.
Yeah.
So, like, when I was looking it up, I was like, "I wonder if they have the last year's Ostrich Festival." And I looked it up, and they don't even have it uploaded, and they don't even have a channel, and I'm like I texted them, I was like, "Hey, where are you guys posting these videos?" And they're like, "We're posting them on Vimeo."
That's crazy work.
I'm like, "Vimeo? Who uses Vimeo, dude? What?"
Yeah,
I was
that's
like, "You
crazy.
guys gotta start posting this stuff on YouTube because for one, like, whenever people get ready for festivals too, like even my roommate, there's a lot of people who will watch recap videos
Yeah,
or they'll watch like previous concerts to like put them in that mindset and like get ready for the excitement, you
yeah.
know? Even my parents watched like the Reyleros, they were also an artist there. They watched like a whole concert. I swear they were watching it for an hour of concerts of those artists
Mhm.
to kind of just reminisce and get ready for the next day where they're going to be watching them in person.
Yeah,
So I told them, I was like, you guys got to start posting these recaps on YouTube because they're the easiest ones to search too.
yeah.
Because also, like, people get very specific with those types of videos. Like, if you want to look at a specific artist, you'll go from the name, you'll be like, "Oh, they played in this city." Imma type in the city,
Mhm.
and then if they know the stadium or if they can't find it from those ones, there's too many results, then they'll even go even further. They'll be like, "Oh, it was in this stadium."
Yeah,
And, like, they'll literally search it down to the most that they can.
yeah,
So, like, if you post a video on YouTube, like a recap or something like that, it could do really well just because that's what people want to see. So I was like,
yeah.
"You guys gotta start posting this on YouTube." Like, Imma be like, Imma be pretty heated if I don't see this on YouTube. Imma tell them,
You
like,
gotta
"You guys
run their
gotta
stuff,
start doing
man.
all that."
You gotta run their stuff. That's just so cynical. It's just so sinful because, like, we you and I run into stuff like that all the time, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to show how many businesses, let alone festivals, are underutilizing the content or underestimating. Because 'cause I'm sure you got, like, a lot of content. How many hours or how many terabytes did you get when you is it 2 days that you filmed?
The for the Ostrich Festival
Mhm,
this year?
mhm.
No, it was all 3 days. So it's 2 weekends, 3 days a week.
So how much film do you think you went through? How many hours of stuff that you think you captured in those 3 days?
A lot. I mean, it was about 300 gigabytes of footage. Yeah, and that's from, like, not including last year's too, which last year was probably, like, around 400,
Yeah,
but 300 gigabytes of footage is a ton.
yeah.
That's a lot. So, like, there's just so much they can do with that footage too.
See, and that's why that's why we gotta do this every week because businesses don't understand, like, the value of, like, 300 gigs of media. That's hours and hours and hours, several dozens of hours, if not hundreds of hours of content that they can use, repurpose, post on YouTube, post as reels, post as, like, an
Yeah.
educational video, have somebody, like, recap everything, but the recap the element that people use to hype themselves up is, like, a perfect example of, like, why you need to go all in with content. So if you wanna thrive in 2025.
Oh, you even got the shirt
That's what I'm
on.
saying, I just got the shirt.
Ooh, can the camera see it? You gotta move the laptop just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Ooh.
Thrive in 2025. You in
Facts.
order for you to thrive, you gotta be top of mind, and that's, like, half the battle when it comes literally, it's businesses. It's not because people want results, and even then, like, now I've got clients like Anthony, like, when we first started, we 90 days after, he generated 20 phone calls, and now he's doing 100 phone calls, over 140 phone calls a month this year in 2025 alone, but is built on him being content focused. He's got somebody in-house, Chris, that films, and then once a year, just about, we go out there and film. You did the first year, and then I went out there last year, and then 2023, he focused on just filming himself, and that's content that he uses everywhere, all over last year, 5,000 posts between Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok that he posted of like work that he's doing on a regular basis. And he's sharing it with his audience to get people to the point where they come to his facility or they call and get some type of inquiry. So
Mhm.
whether it's an automotive shop or it's somebody that has a facility or an event, it's helping people move the goalposts to be like, "You know what? I'm gonna come to that festival next week, or I'm gonna actually get my car fixed." Because people will need trust, and part of the trust is, like, the visual. Like, if you can
Yeah.
film, it kind of creates some type of FOMO,
Mhm.
whether they wanna be a part of it or they're curious to be like, "What is this about? How can I be a part how can I be a part of what am I visually watching?" But if you aren't having a place that people can watch stuff, you're not giving people opportunity to be excited about something. But
Yeah, or even
once
know
they
who you are.
yeah, you have to
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, that's one thing that I try to tell them too is like one thing that works, and I know you know, are the street interviews.
Yep.
And like those things always do super well. And like this is the second year I've told them like we should do stuff like that. And like I don't know why they like don't want to go that route because I told them like let's get some videos where we get the reactions of people after they rode some of the carnival rides.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, because I was like, some people just want to see like their reactions. Like you never know what they're gonna say. And, I just thought that was a perfect thing to do, and SLE didn't end up doing it, but there was another videographer who works with Chandler Chamber, and then Chandler Chamber is also one of the people that set up the Ostrich Festival,
Mhm.
and then they had that video, and I think it did really well, like, there was a lot of people that were commenting on it
Yes.
and views on it, and, like, it also gives the people that are there just to enjoy themselves, like, they want to be on video, they wanna see themselves, so, like, they're not gonna not wanna be on video and
Yeah.
talk. So, like, those are just perfect to do too, because the next people that go too, the next year, they're like, "Oh, I hope I get on camera today. Like, I
Yeah.
hope there's someone that can record me."
Yeah.
And it just, like, brings up the hype whenever people go, you
Yeah.
know? So, I hope they'll do that someday, or I'll
'Cause that'd be
convince them to do
sick.
that.
That'd be sick if you were able to even with I had the recap video you're doing for him right now, it'd be sick if you had, like, people's, like, highlight recaps of, like, them being on the actual Ferris wheel or actually the actual being at concerts as opposed to just being a highlight reel. Because like, as we see,
Yeah.
people want to experience they wanna live through other people's experiences. Yes, we can make super cool videos, but we wanna hear about other people's experiences before we actually experience it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, if you're watching as a business owner, put you need to put yourself in the mindset of the consumer. Let go of the ego of you've created something, but really take it to the next level. Get your consumers, your customers involved with your content, because that right there will create a
Yes.
community that will even attract more people. Because a lot of you guys are using very low level, generic, entry level pieces of content that it's serving you, some of you, but a lot of you have frustrations like, "How can I make this better?" Part of making it better is, like, having conversations like this.
Yeah.
"How was the ride? Would you go on it again?" "Was that your first time? Was that your second time?" That's the stuff that people wanna comment on, not how cool the video is. Like, something's cool only you can only make so many cool videos of something being highlights, but if you could, like, share people's experiences, that's the thing that is priceless where people would want to relive, especially if somebody is really known in the video, then they're gonna share it with their whole community. It could be the mayor, it could be
Yeah.
anybody.
That's just how kind of content is shifting now. Like you have to be collaborative. You have to kind of work with people who are also like in that same industry or like have roots in that industry.
Mhm.
Like one of the clients I work with, Hall of Frames, one of the things that they used to do before like I started working with them, we're gonna start bringing it back. But what they did was they used to interview artists. And basically, like if they had a piece of art, they would frame it for them and then they would interview the artist and tell them like how they came up with the idea, how they liked the frame, whatever stuff like that, kind of getting them involved too.
Mhm.
So that's something that I told them. I was like, you got to bring that back because for one, it just creates the sense of community. Like you're giving these people a chance for one to speak about their art, and then for two, they get to talk about your frames or like how your frame made their artwork just that much more special,
Yeah.
you know? And those are the things that people wanna see see because they wanna like, people just connect with people.
Yeah.
So, those are just great videos, to do, so we're gonna be bringing those back too.
Do they have those archived? That'd be sick if you could, like, bring those in combination with the stuff that you filmed with the podcast of recent versus, like, over the years.
I think they do. I don't know if they're archived, but they're still posted.
Okay, so you can still use it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
No, that and I'm sure they haven't even, like, clipped those up. They probably just got the long form, and they haven't even probably used it in, like, 30-second clips, or have they? Maybe?
Of current artists?
Of
Or
previous podcasts that they've done. Like you said, the stuff they still have posted. Did it
oh, yeah, I don't well, because they were doing everything on the phone, so it wasn't even podcast style.
Oh, okay.
So, like, one thing that I told them too is, like, we should have the meeting room that they have. I
Mhm.
was like, "Turn that into a podcast space so then you guys can have the staff, like, go in there for 10 minutes and talk about how the month was or talk about some of the things that they created in that month." So then that way, like, we have a lot more reels and then
Mhm.
people can see the staff too, like, all the people that are working there.
Mm.
So, there's just a lot of things that they've done in the past too that, like, they did really well, but they just didn't continue on with it, so there's a lot of things that we're gonna be bringing back now that I'm gonna start working with them, and then the quality of it's just gonna look a lot better, so, yeah, excited for that.
Yeah, people just need direction. That's the thing because people do content and they just don't know what to do with it. It seems like that's like the common theme. Like even when we were talking with Joe and Gia, like they film everything. Like they filmed us our meeting and everything, but they just have it. They don't really know how to capitalize on it. And I guess a big emphasis of why it's important or to get some type of guidance. I guess the guidance is like you need a director. Like that's where you and I come in, where we can give them the direction of how they can use the content to better push their business where they can increase consistency and brand awareness and sales. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, I think last time Netflix spent $14 billion last year on production. And that is a testament to the stuff that we see that's leaving Netflix, that's coming on, that's F1 included, where
Mhm.
they're investing into the production. They're going to F1. They're shooting this documentary. They're remaking this,
Yeah.
and they're continuously investing into the delivery of the storyline marketing to therefore help to convey more emotion of helping people feel a certain way about what they are watching, and a lot of times it ends up getting people to go support the thing that they're watching, like F1. Like F1,
Yeah.
it was in Vegas. You better believe there's a bunch of people that went from F1 watching it on Netflix to Las Vegas to watch it in person, and they were inspired because they saw the documentary style of content that they did.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm a fan now because
That's me, dude. Me
that's
exactly.
what happened.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like my brother and my other roommate, they were watching it before me. So like I watched one race with them. I didn't understand it. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And they were just like, you got to watch the Netflix series. Like they get really in depth and talk about it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. And I watched that whole season, and then we watched the next race, and it's like I just knew a lot more. Like I knew a little bit more about the racers. I just knew about like how it all works, and then it was just a lot more entertaining to watch because
Yeah.
now I'm like, "Oh, like, I know who's winning, who's in the lead, like, I know all this stuff now
Mhm.
because they showed it on the show."
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely
That's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely me, dude. I was one of those people.
See,
Uh,
that's perfect example of literally the depth of your business, of the staff, of your customers as an example of how you can create fans of people that you work at your facility. So if it's like
mm,
Anthony, there's people that are fans of Anthony, fans of his staff, his service writers, fans of his mechanics, because we've shared and shown their personality in the videos. It wasn't just highlights of, oh, they're working on cool cars,
yeah.
but it was like, oh, this Anthony made a joke. Chris said this person did that, and now people feel like they're part of the ride where you're watching F1 and you're like, "Okay, I'm rooting for that guy. I hate that
Yeah.
guy." That's
How long actually would you say that took until people actually started, like, getting to that point? Because you know, a lot of people that want this type of work too, or that need this type of work, they think it's gonna come super quick, like, they're
yeah,
gonna just get that type of a following, like, in the first 3 months. Like,
yeah,
how long would you say is that process from people just becoming from, like, viewers to a fan?
yeah. I would say you gotta go at least 90 days currently. Right now it's April 2025, April 1st. So in this current day and time, you need to at least invest 90 days of consistency to really see a real change to get people to turn into a viewer to getting some format of fans because every day people are you're fighting for people's attention. So if you're fighting for people's scrolling attention, you must be consistent in investing into vision through a lens, storyline marketing, Amplify Studios, so you're able to see the results because you're fighting literally for people's equity in what they're watching, because if they're not watching our stuff, they're watching something else, and it's not gonna not go like, say you stop running, that's why I was like, keep the ads on, Isaac, because they're those people's attention that followed, they're scrolling as we speak right now. And so as a business owner, now that I know what I know, I'm like, okay, I always have to have something going, even if it's at the lowest budget possible, because between posting organically, which is an art in itself, and running paid ads, you always have the opportunity to be in front of people. So inside of 90 days, that's typically where I've seen like Chris Hargrave with Dr. Chris, Dr. Erica. I
Mhm.
was posting a whole year, and I have the Zoom call where he was like, "Yeah, I've been following you for a year," and then I reached out. So, bare minimum, 90 days, but the longer you commit to the process, the more fans will come about, but I would say at least
Feels
3
fake
months.
then for sure,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, 'cause, again, like, that's why it's always good to have, like, a plethora of different content, so then when people do stop by your account, then they kind of just can binge your stuff and get to know you a little bit more, and
Yep.
then, yeah, that's when they start to become more of, like of just viewers to fans, like, one guy actually I wanna mention, LCD Sign. Have you seen his
Yeah.
thing? His name's Tony?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, like, I was seeing some comments, and there's people who are literally following him just because he's
Yeah,
his
seen it.
content, like, just because he's funny.
They're like, "I don't even have a business, but Imma buy a sign."
Yeah,
I felt
literally.
goodbye.
Like, dude, he is a perfect example of, like, turning your viewers into, like, fans that will I mean, for sure, if he brought out something or I'm sure he gets so many sales, but
Yeah.
he's literally turned his viewers to fans,
Yeah.
and, like, it's just all with his content, staying consistent with it. Another thing is, like, one thing that I've also really started to notice is by consistency, I mean, like, doing what's working over and over and over.
Yep.
So, like, there's been so many people in, like, the past, I would say, year that I've seen blow up because they have done one thing, like, in the for a year, basically. Like, one thing, like, LCD Sign, the way he starts off his videos, it's always the same.
The
The way
ice water guy, you ever seen that guy go viral? The guy that's put
Yeah, and he
water.
does the old motivational like, speeches and all that.
Yeah.
Like, same thing, same exact video, and then the recent guy,
Banana peels.
yeah,
Yeah.
the morning routine guy,
Yeah.
and then again,
He just did a collaboration with Mr. Beast.
I saw that, dude. Even so many other brands are copying that because now it's turned into a trend.
Yep.
But the thing is like, I mean, he was doing that for probably a year
Yeah.
before it started actually taking off.
Yep.
So, like, that's one thing that I've really started to notice too is like when you stick with that one thing and start kind of posting about that, like, people will not only gravitate to it, but people will know exactly what they're watching when they go to your account. So
Yep.
there's no confusion at all. There's
Yep.
no like, am I gonna see a different video this time? Like, I don't know if I should follow him, or like they'll follow and they see a bunch of different types of videos that they didn't follow for, and then that's when some people unfollow.
Yep.
But like once people go to your account and they see like it's the exact same, but of course, like if you watch them, it's a little bit different. Each video is a little bit different,
Mhm.
but it's in that same style. People know what they're following, they know what they're gonna watch,
Mhm.
and they're gonna stay tuned into it. So that's one thing that I've kind of noticed in the past, year that I think Imma start implementing too, like, a lot also. So, in my own personal content and also just stuff with clients too. So,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I'm figuring out, like, what we can do that same thing over and over for, like, I would say maybe 3 times a week or 2 times a week or something like that. Same video concept type of thing.
No, 100%. Like, Gary Vee has said something that's stuck out to me as of recent because 'cause he's been writing a lot of trends before it happens. He's done it numerous times, and one of his things now is, like, live selling, but one of the things he's been saying is, like, followers is a vanity metric, meaning people are no longer valuing, like, followers as much as they used to. Like, yes, you can create it, but the stuff that pops up in our feed, half the stuff, if you pay attention, they aren't even pages that you follow. It's
Mm,
at least maybe 5% of the stuff you might scroll might be your followers, unless you favorited the page, but
yeah.
everything that's popping up, how the algorithm is, it's putting new stuff in your feed that you like, but you're not even followers of it. They're just putting new profiles and people likely don't even follow them anymore because now it's really is the content resonating? And this is why I'm such a big advocate for volume. Going back to it, like posting 2, 3 times a week. There's
Mm.
people that won't even see your stuff be because it doesn't reach the algorithm. It doesn't even reach what they like, and so there's, like, one page that posts 100 times a day. I think you talked about it last time, um, but 100 times a day posting, and they are confident that they have hundreds of millions of followers, but they post because they know their followers a portion of their followers are only gonna see one of the videos, so
Oh, yeah.
posting consistently and seeing what works, going back to the guy that's new recently with the banana peels fancy water,
Yeah.
he's loving it. That's why either Mr. Beast reached out to him, likely Mr. Beast reached out to him, was like, "Hey, we gotta do a video," because he knows he's in the middle, and going back to the clients, you need to have both. You wanna have people that are supporting of you, but you know you made it when you've got people making reaction videos to you about
Yeah.
your morning routine because you've got both sides of attention. You've got positive and negative, and therefore he's farming it to continue it on, and it's a byproduct of him testing. Because 'cause I'm sure at the beginning he tested out, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this,"
Oh, yeah.
and then he doubled down once he started seeing the consistency of how he's been delivering that highly edited video of him having his morning routine, and now he's doubled down on it, and he's gonna milk it until it goes somewhere else, and
Really.
that's where going back to a business owners, you have to test. You can't just do 1 video, 1 photo a week. I'm a big advocate of just testing as much as possible that you can possibly handle. This is why I like doing productions, where we film for like you did for 2, 3 days for was it, the Ostrich Fest,
Yeah.
but taking that content for Ostrich Fest would be a perfect opportunity to repurpose it and see how it does really well and post every day for at least 30 days to kind of see how it does based on how it's edited, a raw piece of video, maybe something with some heavy edits, light edits, medium edits,
Yeah.
things that are trending. And then that's where you can find quicker, oh, this is what's working for this business. Let's double down on it as opposed to moving really, really slow. Even for myself, I need to be doing more than what I'm doing right now because people's attention and people's response will tell you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's one thing I always say too is, like, whenever something's working, like, if I've been or when I work for a client for, let's say, a month or 2,
Yeah.
like, whatever's been working the best or doing the most views, then I'm like, "Let's start doing a little bit more of those types of videos because obviously it's already doing well, it's
Yep.
done well.
Yep.
So let's just again, like how everything has to be or how I just mentioned, if we do that same concept, but just started off differently or ended off differently, just put something different, then it'll catch on. Like, we've seen it already so many times,
Yep.
so it's just something too where also I've had the thing with Hall of Frames where they just think they're just reproducing the same video. They're like, "Oh, it thinks it's the same." But I'm like, "No, guys, it's a little bit different each time." So then you never know which one of these out of these 2 will do better because of one thing.
Mhm.
So that's one thing that I'm also telling these guys to do is, like, just experiment, just make different stuff, see what's working, and whatever's working, do more of that.
Yeah, everyone's ego's in it. That's what Gary Vee talks about. And everybody's to some degree where they want to post the right thing, the perfect thing. But Alex Ramosi says, like, nobody knows who we are. No one knows who I am, who you are. So it is important for us to test as much as possible because if you wanna be known, like, it's not like you walk down the street and everybody knows you, like, and that's the thing, if you are known, you're forgotten the next day, especially if you lose flame, so, a lot of people are afraid of being perceived in a negative way, but nobody knows who we are, and quite frankly, a lot of people haven't mastered posting where they can get 10,000, 20,000 views. Even for me,
Yeah.
I know how to do paid ads. I got millions of views with paid ads, but one thing I'm focusing on now is, okay, how I'm gonna create an identity for organic where I can post and people just naturally see it 10, 20, 30,000 times inside of a day or a week. So those are the 2 things that I'm now mastering, and I'm willing to repurpose, like I was just talking with Ivana, of different ways to distribute and edit that
Mm.
so we can go ahead and crack that method because it's an art and you can't remove the art from the marketing element. A lot of people are too analytical about their marketing. I've talked to way enough business owners where they're so analytical, where they're like, how does this person comment does it mean I'm making money? Let alone, how do we know that all 100 phone calls are generating any type of money towards my business. It's so analytical where they hinder themselves of the natural thing that social media does when it like takes flame, like the guy doing the ice water and then, or the
Yeah.
hot Tua girl or all those different things. Like somebody our agency reached out to her and was like, "Hey, we're gonna make t-shirts ASAP." And then I think she made at the time a couple of $1,000,000, several $1,000,000 from people seeing that clip that went viral and they jumped on it. "Oh, you're gonna go on a podcast star. We're gonna do that. Chop it up." And boom, it when it really took off. But media has to be a staple if you wanna be relevant in 2025, especially in the times like this where you're competing with so many others, whether you're, an event you're hosting an event or, you're like a regular business. You just have to because people's attention is just
Yeah,
on.
yeah, and that's the one thing too, kind of, I wanna run back is, like, when you said the, like, repurposing content,
Yeah.
there's so many people who don't know how to,
What that means.
yeah, what that means or how they can just always have a plethora of evergreen content,
Yeah.
which, one thing that I just kind of proposed to a client is IRL live streaming. So that's something that I wanna get into myself, but, with, the real estate client, Alan, I was like, because we were talking about just gaming, and I was like, "Oh, like, I came up with gaming and stuff like this," and, he was like he was one of those people I can tell that probably told his son, "Don't do gaming or don't do this because it's a waste of time, like, you're just playing video games, whatever." Because like, I told him that, and then he was, like, bashing live streaming, and, like, I kind of educated him a little bit on it. I was
Yep.
like, "Well, live streaming right now is one of the highest paid just careers, just because, like, people are watching you all the time, and the highest paid ones or the ones that are doing the best in live streaming are the ones that know how to repurpose their content everywhere.
Yep.
We're talking Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, they're everywhere from
Mhm.
one live
Mhm.
stream, you know? So, like, that's one thing that I wanna get Alan into is, like, if we can kind of create segments of basically what they do every day instead of, like, of course, we'll have to just test how we're gonna make it work, but have segments where, like, he records a training call live, he records, maybe what he's gonna be working on for the next hour, like, whatever, searching stuff off, looking
Yeah,
at
how would it
houses,
be? Yeah.
all that type of stuff, he does that all live, and then he can clip up the first 10 minutes where he's doing trainings, put that into a YouTube video, cut that YouTube video into shorts, and then if he needs to have any back end stuff of just the live stream, you have that full on live stream that you can cut any piece of it to
Right.
kind of make sense to that video.
Yeah.
So it's like when you live stream too, there's so many ways to just repurpose content.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of the way that I mean, I feel like is one of the better ways to just always have kind of content going. And 'cause that's the real deal too. People like it's hard you can't really fake being on live stream.
No.
Like, it's hard it's easier to become, like, a character or something on
Mhm.
camera or, like,
Mhm.
on YouTube,
Mhm.
but when you're live streaming, you're, like, your real authentic self. Like, people will gravitate that, like, more than anything, because like, you're super organic. So, I think that that's something that will do really well for them, especially being in the real estate space
Yep.
where there's a lot of people who wanna learn, and he does a lot of educational stuff.
Yep.
So, I'm like, I feel like this is something that you should try out. No one's really doing it right now in real
Yeah.
estate, I feel like, so you should definitely try it out, and I feel like it would do really well.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of experience, and that really is a testament to talk to those that have a lot of experience. You might be scared, and it's definitely uncomfortable, but that is what people want. That's what they want, that's what they need in order for them to trust you, because people wanna trust you before they buy from you in 2025. They need to know who you are, they wanna know how you are, and in the world of AI, people want to simply they are craving a real connection with people more than ever because everything is AI and it's automated, and it only makes the human connection that much more stronger. I have heard people say otherwise, but it in terms of what it's gonna do in the future, but that is this is an example of why it does so well because we went from reality TV shows and now we've got people being able to go live and make their own reality TV show. It was just celebrities that you thought were on this high horse, but now the people that are doing well are the people that are everyday people that are streaming on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and you can now interact. But that is a testament to what people need to know in order to support your business because again, it's no longer just in the business hands anymore. People need to know who they're supporting, why they're doing it, and that will make people lifers as opposed to them
Yeah.
going from one business to another. Like, I'm not gonna buy a house from anybody but Alan because I know who he is. I've watched 60 hours of his content and his favorite color is blue. My favorite color is blue. I'm only working with him. I could care less because everybody else posts one time and they want to be this mysterious figure and they are very mysterious and that's very not trustworthy and it makes me doubt who they are now. That's kinda where we're at now, like, people need to know who you are. You can't just post now once. Again, you can make success outside of content if you're very, very strategic in the sense of not necessarily your face, but people need to understand and get a pulse. If something that is very easy to correlate and understand what you can control, share who you do what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're persevering, how you're succeeding, how you're failing, how you're getting out of that situation. That is what people want. And or they're like, seeing a credit card guy that's like, yeah, right, right, right.
Yeah.
That's how people want to do. They want to get right here, take it, Isaac. I know how to do content now. Because I think that's a good thing that you talked about, like the breakdown of like what I should do with an hour. I think that'd be worth talking about. Like, okay, I just shot an hour IRL. What should I do with it? Okay, you could post the whole thing on YouTube, the whole hour or 2 hours, and then you could break that 2 hours into several, like 10, 20-minute, 10-minute videos and then recaption each 10, 20-minute video. And then you could make 6, like 20 to 30 clips, and then you could repurpose each clip in one narrative that you might talked about in those 10, 20 clips. And then it's just
That's a lot.
and then you could put it into trends. It's like another thing. And this is I think and this last thing I'll say is you gotta have somebody around you to help you think through the process, help you direct. Again, you need a Michael Bay. Like, where are the Michael Bays of the
Mhm.
modern world? Where are the Steven Soderberghs of for businesses in the sense of helping them understand what they need to do with the content, like the Hall of Frames. They're like,
Yeah.
"I'm shooting content, it's repetitive." They're like, "Well," we're like, "No, no one knows who you are."
Yeah, that's one thing that, like, being with the Hall of Frames, because it's a little bit different industry than I've always been in. I've always been in, like, the real estate is the biggest and then, like, service-based.
Mhm,
So with those ones, it's really like how we've been mentioning, people have to know who you are. But in the Hall of Frames, since it's more of a product,
mhm,
those ones are just, like, a little bit different in the types of content that we make because they want, like, certain verbiage to be right, like, they
mhm,
want everything to kinda sound how like, because they know there's other framers and stuff like that, so they don't wanna, like, seem like they're doing something wrong or they're doing it different or whatever
mhm,
compared to other framers.
mhm,
So, like, one thing that, like, we've worked on a lot with them is kind of the structure of their content. Because at first with myself, this is kind of where Sarah being on the team has helped me out so much is because like, uh, with me doing the editing and then me doing the posting and the content sheets for the content days, like I didn't really have too much time to get super in depth on like some of the things that they just like weren't completely like what's the word? Like they whenever we would do a content day, sometimes they wouldn't know exactly
what to
what
talk
to
about.
say
Yep.
or stuff like that.
Mhm,
So Sarah, like, she writes down those bullet points now, and, like, she has if there's something that is very specific, she will write down a script for them to say.
mhm,
So then now, like, one thing that they wanted to do, like, we had a kind of a conversation last month about just, like, how things were moving, and Shawn was just saying how he thought it was gonna be a lot more of,
structured.
like, off his hands type of thing, like, "Oh, content day, he's got it taken care of, like, it's gonna be super structured," type of thing. But, we didn't have it that structured yet, so it took that month to really figure out how they wanted it to be to where it's like, we'll go in there, have everything ready, like, very, very structured, so then it's like, off their shoulders type of thing. So, that's one thing that me and Sarah have just really communicated a lot on, and it's helped them out a lot. Like, now the confusion is no more. Like, they know exactly on that content sheet, like, it's way, way more organized with Sarah doing it than how
Yeah.
I was doing it. So, yeah, like, that's one thing that I felt was a little bit different with them, but it just took a little bit of time to figure out, just those little things that we were doing wrong or that we could do better,
Mhm.
and then it took us, yeah, that month of communication back and forth with Hall of Frames on how to make it better. And now, yeah, like now we're on a good roll. So yeah, they're super happy about that too.
But going back to the point that goes into my frame of 90 days, because that is right around the time that you first month you figure out what the market is responding to, and then after that, you've got at least another 2 months to make adjustments, and by the time the 90 days come around, you've got people that are familiar with you and have already have reached out to do some type of business, or they at least asked on a regular basis, and anything past that, typically, it'll never stop unless you turn the machine off, and that is an example of like, if you got the finances to invest, like, if Netflix, no one's asked you to spend $14 billion on a production, but part of production is getting the proper direction. Like, if you're working with a videographer, you're working with the advertising agency, and they aren't pushing the boundaries, let alone meeting you to film and asking you to do something that you might be uncomfortable with or offering some type of structure, then you might be working with somebody that's inexperienced or they're not gonna help you tap into your potential because you need to push the boundary of what you film, how you edit every single month, and that's part of what people pay for when they work with us is the element of like, "Okay, I filmed it. What do I do with it?" And then that's where our creative mind just always is always there personally on our off days and even professionally. It just is second nature to us because we've done it numerous times,
Yeah.
and that is how we're able to condense people's learning curve when they're willing to pay the price when it comes to investing into production and understanding what to use. Because by the time month 3 comes around, you've got people consistently have asked you about the business if you haven't already done business with people, again, with Anthony. First 90 days, he doubled his revenue. First 90 days in a small town of Gal, New Mexico, after we did that production, and since then, he's opening up a second location. He was unsure, like, when you filmed, he was like, "I don't know if I wanna open a second location, it's a headache. I don't know if I want that headache." Now it's fast forward 2 years, going on 3 years, he's gonna open up another location within the next 60 days, maybe an hour away from where he's at in Farmington.
Nice.
And so that is a testament to him vesting into the process, but he's never stopped, and he says it verbatim. We can edit it in, Ivana. I will never turn off my advertising as long as it's getting the eyeballs that he's got. Because he's like, "I'd rather have eyeballs." I'm more
Mm,
focused on the eyeballs than I am, is it profiting me day one? Because when he goes out in public, people see him, they know him, they're like, "Hey, my sister needs their car fixed, I'm gonna reach out to you when I need it." Because reality, not everybody needs it. I'll
mhm.
say this, I'll end it with this. Not all people need home service or essential services. There's somebody that might need it, but business owners that are doing half a million, million a year, and they are unaware of how to better advance their business, they all need better marketing. So as somebody that needs services, not everybody always needs your services, but as a business owner, and you're doing really well for yourself and you want to take your social media presence to the next level, all of you can take your social media element to the next level. Currently, right now, as it stands, it's just do you have the right people and the guidance and consulting and resources around you to get you to that next level? Are you looking at the right things? Are you just posting the post? That's the question that you got to ask yourself to understand. Like, am I doing everything that I can? Do I have an Isaac or a Shawn in my ear pushing me, evaluating what I've done to tell me how I can do it better? And if the
Yeah.
answer is no.
Yeah, we're right here.
Exactly.
Hit our line. Yeah, so that's why I'm excited with Corella and Co. Because they're definitely just a company that will definitely benefit with just someone kind of guiding them, like
Yep.
people like us guiding them on how to help scale them and like do it where they're not stressed and they have the time on their
Yeah.
hands to do all that
I'm
stuff.
excited about that. I'm glad we got to talk to them because that was fun. That was
Yeah,
fun.
and that's the first of many, dude. Because like, again, with the podcast that I'm doing here in the whole fashion industry, all these designers and just vendors and sponsors also gonna need content for their business.
Yep.
So, they're just like Corel& and Co, there's probably a lot of other ones that are in that same place. They don't know how to continue the scale or how to keep moving up. So definitely that's just something to where in this space and us doing this type of stuff on podcasts and having the experience and knowing the people, it'll just make us the obvious choice
Mm.
to work and make their content and market their content.
Yep.
So that's what I'm excited for the most about this podcast and then kind of working with Corel& and Co in the fashion space because
Yeah.
it'll definitely get our name out in like the Arizona fashion space
Yeah.
when this does good,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Win.
Yeah.
No, none of that hope stuff. Win.
Now, when this does good, like
This is done.
there's gonna be a line, bro. There's
Big
gonna be
line.
like people. Next one is Ford. Ford Modeling Agency. We gotta see how to scale them, and
Yeah.
then hopefully Corella and Co will be our, well, not hopefully. Corella and Co will be our first testimonial, and then yeah, just move forward with that.
This is the last thing I'll say. We're taking billion-dollar marketing strategies and applying it to small million-dollar business all across, starting in Arizona and even all across the United States. And the question is, will it be you or will it be your competitor? You decide based on if you're an action taker or not. 17K day. Look at I just had a client just tell me, he's like 17K day today. He's
70 what where is he from?
he's in Houston. Or he's based out of Houston, but he services clients all across the United States. He sells cam kits. So, hey, Ryan, we will have a podcast at some point. I want to sit down with you in this format and talk about the success. But long story short, he hired a big agency, and that big agency that he hired was a big agency that worked for a big name, but they dropped the ball. He tapped out after spending like a boatload of money. I think he said like 13,600. He emailed me and he didn't get the results that he was looking for. But long story short, we cut his cost in half, nearly 2/3 the first month, and we made him we cut his cost per purchase. It went from $90 per purchase to last month he did about it was costing $31 per purchase. So we cut the cost per purchase literally in two halves. And so and we spend less than 5,000, less than $6,000 on Facebook ads. But and we filmed at least 6 to 12 months of content, but last year he did 2,000,000, 2.1, and he hired us to do 3,000,000 this year, and he's having unheard numbers during this time of year, and he's one of the best, and he's well known. His customers well known, and they love him, and that's the exciting thing about it, because people have been dying to support him, but it's only been a month, and we've been talking and working together leading up to us doing a production. We did a production the last week of February, but he reached out in December, and he just had his kid. So now that he has his kid, he's like, "All right, we finally had our production for 2 days, and now we've been editing out new commercials for him every week." But it's again, he's such an ideal client. Again, we could talk about that on a whole 'nother
Yeah.
thing, but
How many did you experiment? Like, how many just experimenting or blech, like experimental reels did you do until you saw that one that was like working the best?
well, the cool thing, again, at this time of the career, he reached out and he already had a following. So he just didn't know what to do with the following, so to speak. Like he 22,000 followers on Facebook, 15,000, 14,000 at the time. Now he's at 15,000 on Instagram, and he's got about 3,000 subs on YouTube. He already had people that loved him because he was already posting somewhat. But the first day, we got 3, 4 sales that cost like $3 a piece. He made like 10K first day with like $100.
Dang.
And so he was a unicorn in the sense of already having a brand, and, it's just like it's like Curl& and Co. I was like, "Really? You guys have hundreds of students? You have thousands of people that have already bought from you, and you don't know how to
Like,
maximize this?" First day, while I was here, I actually got video of him looking at the camera, or I mean, at my phone, like, "Look, we got more sales today." He's just like, "Oh my god." Right,
right.
on camera. So that happened day 1. It was just an anomaly because again, it usually takes that 90-day period. Like, we got like Jim's Motorcycles, he waited a year before he reached out to me. Our inside joke is he should have waited longer, but we just wrapped up March. He's already beat his numbers that he hasn't even seen since before COVID, since starting in November. He's averaging about 30 phone calls, extra phone calls, and he's doing more bikes per month since November, since 2019 before COVID happened. So,
Wow.
he's somebody that took a little bit longer in terms of, like, I guess, getting him on and then actually seeing the growth that he's seeing now,
Mhm.
but that's usual case. But I if you have a following and you just don't know how to, like, take it to that next level, that's where Ryan fell in that bucket, where immediately, like, first week, we made, like, 20 sales, spending less than $1,000, and he's stoked. Even now, he's like,
Right.
"Why is it not happening now?" I'm like, "Ryan, I told you, we are just getting low-hanging fruit, you know?" No, it'd be great if this happened every day, let alone a $17,000 day. However, this is where he had a warm audience that he didn't necessarily optimize, and now we're focusing on his cold audience as of the last week to 2 weeks. So he's super stoked, but yeah, he's honestly like, like he can't. If I could duplicate him, Anthony, Jim, and even Joe and Gia, those are they just those people you wanna work for. They're like, "Yo, alright, I gotta work for those guys," because you know that they're gonna take your name far with it, like
And those testimonials, especially with those types of people, because 'cause it'll only get more people that are in that same situation or, like,
yep,
in that same thing, because 'cause they'll be like, "Damn, he can do it for me too." So,
exactly, and now money's not an issue.
yeah.
And now we've got a skill where we're like, see, that's another thing. That's like the skill set. Cause like before we're like, how can we make money doing what we do? But now we're at a point where actually got to say no to certain things where we're like, okay, okay, nah, we're in this bracket. Oh, I'll freeze here so somebody to do it. Now we're in a point where people are of a higher caliber keep reaching out. Like Ryan, like a $2 million a year, $2 million a year business reached out. I'm like, shit. Like that right there is a pinnacle in this career where he reached out like, "Hey, I had a bad experience with AHC, can you help me?" And now he's on his way, and once let's say we get a year down the line, he does 3 or whatever it might be, more than he did last year, we're gonna get the next $5 million. Somebody that's at 3 that wants to go to 4, 4 that wants to go to 5, someone that you might skip that, and somebody that's at 10 is like, "Hey, can you do this?" I had one business I gotta follow up with, name's Bob. His son purchased a business that did all 6 locations in Georgia, did 15 million. They do about $2 million each. And he's like,
Dang.
"Yeah." I'm like, "That might be my first production run. I have to charge 50,000, $100,000, especially for 6. I'm gonna have to call all the vendors. I'm like, Isaac, other Isaac, Parks, because I'm gonna need everybody."
Had to get Jason in there. He's the biggest one that knows probably the most productions.
Oh, yeah, I told him. I just had a conversation with him, yesterday because he knows ads. You talking about Jason, the voice production group?
Yeah, Jason the one or
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, I just talked to him yesterday because I need help with ads. Because not necessarily help, just help of managing it because it's getting like, right now, I'm looking at ads.
Yeah, you're probably running a ton, huh? How many are you running right now at once?
It's a lot. Oh, it's over 10. I'm looking at over 10 accounts. I look at 'em every day, but I make adjustments at least 1 major week out of the month, typically, depending on the client, and then
Mhm.
a volunteers help me run ads, but it's a good problem to have. Again, it's a blessing overall to be in demand as opposed to, nobody know who you are as opposed in terms of just the grand scheme of things, but it's crazy to see that contrast, like, when you start working at Curly& and Co., that's around the time that we met.
Mhm.
And then we were figuring stuff out, and then we had our first client, you had your first real estate client, you know, and then now we're on a path where our results are speaking for themselves,
Yeah,
and
like, we don't know like, we know what we don't know or what we didn't know now.
yeah,
Like, back then, like, we didn't know how to structure it all, we didn't know how to do it, so, like, now we've just gone to a point to where we've had the experiences, we've had, like, the things that work, like, we know kind of how everything works, so this yeah, we're just a lot more prepared for the next evolution of our careers and everything, so it's just yeah, it's been a lot in the past couple of years, but
this the last thing I'll say, if you offer premier work or services or product, you should never, ever be hesitant for paying for premier contract services like what Isaac and I have accumulated, especially if we have the work to show for it, because it doesn't make sense that you have a premium product or service, but you're hesitant to invest a premium dollar or production or advertising into your business if you want to go to that next level. It doesn't make sense. And I wanted to say that because it's so many people that I've had phone calls with where they're like, they offer something that's like 5 grand, 6 grand, and they're like, I don't know if I believe. I'm like showing them everything. I've even had them talk to clients where I'm like, hey, you can call this client, you can call Anthony, you can call Renzo, you can call Jim. Y'all can go online of you
mhm.
talking to people. You can call Ryan. Ryan's pumped, and you're still like, I don't know. But yeah, you're like, how can I scale my business that offers a $5,000 product or service that I want to provide? But yet you don't want to invest. Do you really deserve people to invest $5,000 into your business if you're not willing to invest 5,000, $10,000 into yourself? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That
right.
doesn't make sense to me. So, what else do you think of 101?
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, we covered a lot. Can't wait to talk again in the next month or so, see how everything's been going too,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah. All right. If it's not you, it might be your competitor. So if you guys like this, leave some feedback, some comment, some oxygen in the comment section. And yeah, let's go ahead and go into the next time. 'Cause I'm sure we got so much that we talk about. But this is just a little small snippet.
We
Like,
only went into, like, the first part of the year, I think, of, like, that clients that we're working with and everything that we got going on, so there's still
yeah,
a lot more,
yeah.
for sure.
All right, stay tuned.
Let's do it.
Boom.